Hello guys. In this video I will discuss the top 5 best budget smartphones of 2024. We have tested all the aspects and put them in this list. So, if you want to use a good smartphones, then feel free to choose any of these. So let's get started. Number 5. OnePlus 10T. The best cheap camera phone. Weight: 204 grams. Dimensions: 163 by 75.4 by 8.8 millimeters. OS: Android 12. Screen size: 6.7 inch. Resolution: 1080 by 2412. CPU: Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. RAM: 8 GB, 12 GB, 16 GB storage. 128 GB, 256 GB. Battery: 4800 mAh. Rear camera: 50MP plus 8MP plus 2MP. Front camera: 16MP. If you're after a speedy phone with capable cameras that doesn't demand a premium price tag, then the OnePlus 10T, a worthy mid-range Android phone, could be for you. This phone had an unduly high starting price at launch, but in 2023, it's become a much more affordable proposition. The OnePlus 10T has a good-looking screen, a powerful chipset and fast charging, and on the back, you're getting a 50-megapixel Sony IMX766 sensor. We've previously heaped praise on this sensor, as it's good for low-light photography, and you get an 8-megapixels ultra-wide lens and 2-megapixels macro sensor onto the OnePlus 10T, too. The lack of zoom is disappointing. With no telephoto lens, you're relying on digital zoom when you close the distance, which caps out at a measly 10x. However, at such a low price in 2023, the OnePlus 10T can be considered one of the best affordable camera phones. Number 4. Samsung Galaxy A13. The best phone under $300. Weight: 195 grams. Dimensions: 165.1 by 76.4 by 8.8 millimeters. OS: Android 12. Screen size: 6.6 inch. Resolution: 1080x 2400. CPU: Exynos 850. RAM: 3 GB, US, 4 GB, UK per astronomical unit. Storage: 32 GB, US, 64 GB, UK, 128 GB. Battery: 5000 mAh. Rear camera: 50 megapixels, wide, plus 5MP, ultrawide, UK per astronomical unit only, plus 2MP, macro, plus 2MP, depth. Front camera: 8MP. If you're looking for a capable smartphone that won't break the bank, look no further than the Samsung Galaxy A13. Put simply, it's good enough in most of the areas that matter for a smartphone, from the camera to the battery life, and its super low price, which will continue to drop, makes it a tempting value for money deal. On the design front, the Galaxy A13 feels like a phone that's going to last, and it offers a 6.6-inch, 2408 by 1080 LCD screen that does a decent job with websites, photos, videos and games. It's suitably bright, vivid and crisp, and while there's no support for HDR or anything above a 60 Hz refresh rate, we didn't have any real complaints in this regard. Number 3. Google Pixel 7a. The best cheap Pixel phone. Weight: 193 grams. Dimensions: 152 by 72.9 by 9 millimeters. OS: Android 13. Screen size: 6.1 inch. Resolution: 1080x 2400. CPU: Google Tensor G2. RAM: 8 GB. Storage: 128 GB. Battery: 4385 mAh. Rear camera: 64MP plus 13 megapixels. Front camera: 13 megapixels. The Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro are quite pricey and powerful smartphones, and so the Pixel 7a steps in for those who'd prefer a cheaper option. The 7a offers almost everything the Pixel 7 does, but it's cheaper at $499. The Pixel 7a has a pleasant-looking display. The camera is amazing. At 64 megapixels, it has the highest megapixel count of any Pixel phone, and it's a really compact phone, too, at a comfortable 6.1 inches. Certainly, there are flaws. We've found that the Pixel 7 doesn't have all-day battery life and is supported for fewer years than Samsung or Apple options. However, slick Android software and Google's thoughtful AI features have an audience, and the Pixel 7a is one of the nicest and most inexpensive ways you can get on board. Number 2. Apple iPhone 13. The best cheap iPhone. Weight: 174 grams, dimensions, 146.7 by 71.5 by 7.7 millimeters, OS. iOS 17, screen size, 6.1 inches, resolution, 1170 by 2532, CPU, Apple A15 Bionic, RAM, 4 GB, storage, 128 GB, 256 GB, 512 GB, battery, 3240 mAh, rear camera, 12 megapixels, main, plus 12 megapixels, ultra-wide, front camera, 12 megapixels. Despite being over 2 years old, the standard iPhone 13 remains on sale at Apple, with the arrival of the iPhone 15 having brought its price down to an extremely reasonable $599 in 2023. You'll likely find it cheaper elsewhere, too. The iPhone 13 didn't prove a game-changer for Apple's series of smartphones, but it remains an important iteration that offers better battery life, a better processor and a better camera setup than its predecessors. If you're looking for a fast and capable smartphone, and don't need the extra features of a pricier Pro model, then the iPhone 13 continues to be a top choice. The highlight of the iPhone 13 is its battery life. Previously, iPhones hadn't been synonymous with strong battery life, but during our testing, we were hard-pressed to run the iPhone 13 out of juice. Number 1. Samsung Galaxy A54. The best cheap Samsung phone. Weight, 202 grams. Dimensions, 158.2 by 76.7 by 8.2 millimeters. OS, Android 13. Screen size, 6.4 inch. Resolution, 1080 by 2340. CPU, Exynos 1380. RAM, 6/8 of a gigabyte. Storage, 64 gigabytes, 128 256 of a gigabyte. Battery, 5000 mAh. Rear camera, 50MP plus 12MP plus 5MP. Front camera, 32MP. Galaxy A54 is a slightly updated version of the 2022 A53 that's made for 2023 needs and sensibilities. It looks a lot like the Samsung Galaxy S23 and S23 Plus, and you may be tempted to think it's one of those much better phones. Hold it, and you'll quickly be disabused of that notion. It's a little heavier than the more expensive phones, and the bezels are not as thin. Noting that it costs half as much as the S23 line though, you should be happy enough to pocket the rest of that cash. That additional thickness also goes toward hosting its 5000 mAh battery, which means it'll last all day according to our testing, with 23W fast charging to get it back up and running quickly. The cameras are even fairly decent and perform well in good light.